Good afternoon on this Wednesday. I hope you are having a fabulous day so far. I'm Julie Broughton. This is Take 6. It's when we hang out a little bit at 12:30 every day and let you know what's happening that we are working on, especially that you'll see later today as well on News 6. Now, coming up in just a few minutes, we will talk about your forecast. We're seeing a gorgeous day, finally a little more sunshine. We do have a cool down on the way, and then another warm up. It is that time of year in Central Florida, but I will tell you we have a gorgeous weekend, so we'll check out your full forecast, and we'll also check in with News 6 anchor Eric Von Aken with his weekly Protecting Our Community segment, and he will tell us about a new app being used by the Orlando Police Department and how that is getting results. But first, for several years now, we have been following an investigation here at News 6 talking about a company selling what viewers say is defective hot tubs. Now, we've had viewers reaching out, I think, since about 2022 telling us about this, and now Florida's Attorney General is finally taking action on this. With the very latest is News 6 investigator Mike DeForest. And Mike, you have been hearing from viewers about this company for years now.
Yeah, it was actually in about 2022 is when we first started hearing complaints about this company in Volusia County called Revive Spas and More that sold used hot tubs on Facebook Marketplace. Now, some people your initial reaction may be, ew, who would buy a used hot tub? But new hot tubs are extremely expensive, and if you don't have the budget for one and just want to be a place to plunge, it may not be a bad idea if you can find a good one. But this company was allegedly selling very defective tubs. After we started reporting on this, Florida's Attorney General launched a consumer protection investigation. And now, as a result of the state's investigation, that hot tub company's basically been put out of business.
If you take a look, you can actually see where they did some patchwork.
When this nearly $3,000 hot tub was delivered to Megan Gillespie's home,
this is where we kind of did our investigating.
She says the internal plumbing was not hooked up.
So you can actually see under here that these jets are not connected.
Gillespie made that discovery after trying to fill it with a hose.
That's when all the water started pouring right out.
So the water just gushed out of this and onto the deck?
Yes, loads of it.
I'm angry.
Jamie Piccirilli paid $2,000 for this hot tub he purchased on Facebook Marketplace from the same Volusia County company, Revive Spas and More. The company's owner, Dylan Placker, delivered the used hot tub to Piccirilli's home and then reportedly took off before he could test it. Piccirilli soon discovered the bottom of the hot tub was rotten and says the pump did not work. Piccirilli and Gillespie are among more than 30 customers who filed complaints with Florida's Attorney General. Now, as part of a settlement with the state, Placker must shut down his company and pay thousands of dollars. According to this agreement signed by Placker and his wife Chelsea, they cannot work for anyone who sells or repairs hot tubs. And the couple is banned from owning, operating, or managing any business in Florida. The Plackers owe the state nearly $472,000, records show. But since the couple claims they cannot afford that amount, Florida's Attorney General has agreed to suspend the judgment if they pay nearly $11,000 and comply with all other restrictions.
It hasn't worked right since day one.
Keith Mathis lives in Oklahoma. 3 years ago, before the Plackers moved to Central Florida, the couple was sued by Oklahoma's Attorney General. The Plackers were later barred from selling hot tubs in that state and agreed to pay more than $33,000 to Oklahoma customers, including Mathis.
You can't trust them. You can't trust a word they say.
The hot tub company's phone line has been disconnected, so we have been unable to reach Dylan Placker for comment. We do not know if he is still here in Central Florida or whether perhaps he's selling used hot tubs in another state. Mike DeForest, Getting Results, News 6.
You take
Still trying to get some answers from the Attorney General's office, as you saw there. The couple claims that they just simply can't afford that nearly $500,000 judgment, and it appears that the Attorney General's office realized they're not going to get that kind of money anyways from the couple, so they agreed to that suspension of the large amount as long as the couple paid nearly $11,000 up front and then followed all of those other restrictions, which would ultimately, if successful, prevent other customers from falling victim to this business. One question we still have is how much, if any, of that money that the couple does pay the state will actually make its way back to the consumers. It is very possible that they could see some relief, although considering the number of consumers, it may not be a huge dollar amount. But we're still waiting from the state to just find out what the status of that money will be, and if it is in fact going to those victims, how it might be distributed.
Yeah, and I just can't imagine the frustration. You're excited, you buy this luxury item, and even the used prices that you were talking about, that's still a huge chunk of change, $2,000 and $3,000, and then for it just to be defective. So hopefully they will see at least a little bit. But like you said, divided among all of the victims, it's not going to be a huge amount.
And this is something we see a lot of times with these types of operations where, as an individual, yes, that's very painful depending on your personal financial circumstance to lose $1,000 or $2,000 for a defective piece of equipment, but it's probably not enough money for you as the consumer to go out and hire an attorney or file a lawsuit, and then even more so if you win that lawsuit, having to go the extra step to try to get that money from a defendant. Not specifically in this case, but in similar cases. That's kind of a sweet dollar amount, we know, that oftentimes people either who are intentionally trying to rip folks off or just bad business people can get away with this. And so it's rather unusual that the Attorney General took this step to shut this company down. But I've already heard from some of the former customers who are happy this company is now presumably out of business, and that's what that big dollar figure hanging over their head will presumably prevent them from reopening, perhaps under a different name. They certainly wouldn't be allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But in terms of getting their money back, folks are still going to be out a lot of money, they say.
All right, Mike DeForest, thank you so much. I know you'll stay on top of this.
We will.
We are going to take a short break. When we get back, we'll check in with Eric Von Aken and his Protecting Our Community segment, talking about that new app rolled out by the Orlando Police Department. He'll tell you how that is getting results and keeping people safe. And we will also take a look at your forecast and take a look ahead to the very important weekend forecast coming up for you in about 2 minutes. The time now is 12:39. I'm Julie Broughton. Welcome back to Take 6. Today marks 1 year since 13-year-old Madeline Soto disappeared and was later found dead. Now her mother's boyfriend is in jail awaiting trial for her murder. News 6's Angie Quesada spoke to an attorney about what that trial might look like.
Yeah, here at this complex 1 year ago today, surveillance cameras captured Stephen Stern leaving this condo complex, and prosecutors say that Madeline's body was already in his car. It's here where investigators say he then discarded her belongings before ultimately dumping her body in a remote area.
At 7:35 in the morning, cameras recorded Stearns throwing what investigators believe were Madeline's backpack and laptop into a trash compactor. Minutes later, a girl in a green sweater was seen slumped in the passenger seat of his car. By 9:40 that morning, surveillance from a parking garage captured a man carrying what appeared to be a limp female body to the trunk of a vehicle. Now, as Stearns faces charges of murder and sexual battery, his attorneys are arguing that intense media coverage could prevent him from receiving a fair trial. They want his hearings closed to the public.
This is not uncommon. You know, you have seen motions like this before in the Casey Anthony case, in other local cases as well, where there has just been a large amount of media coverage. These are the sort of motions that defense counsel are going to file.
His attorneys have also moved to suppress key evidence, including cell phone data that allegedly contains explicit images of Soto.
The defense in this case has filed motions asserting basically that Mr. Stearns' constitutional rights to privacy have been violated, his constitutional rights to be free from warrantless searches and seizures here relative to his cell phone have been violated. And as a result, the remedy the court should use is exclusion of that evidence against him in trial.
Meanwhile, the state is pursuing the death penalty. The defense is fighting that too.
A lot of this is to preserve appellate issues too, even if they don't win these motions, because if he is convicted, especially if he's given the death penalty, but even if he isn't, you know, there will be a lot of appeals that extend over a long period of time relative to this case if he's convicted. So they're going to ensure that they get thorough hearing time on these motions.
For Maddie's friends and family, the legal battle is just beginning as they search for justice for a life cut short.
Back here at the Venetian Bay Villages, where this tragic case began, the legal fight over what evidence and testimony will be heard in court is far from over. The judge has yet to rule on Stearns' motions, but legal experts say that this could delay the trial for months. Reporting in Kissimmee, Angie Casada getting results, News 6.
Our investigator Mike DeForest did a deep dive into all of the evidence and documents released in this case. If you would like to check more out about that, you can do so on our YouTube channel. That's our WKMG YouTube channel. It is called Justice for Madeline. Every Wednesday, News 6 anchor Eric Von Aken brings us his Protecting Our Community segment. This week, he's visiting with the Orlando Police Department, telling us about a new app and how that is getting results.
The flashing lights, understandably, get people nervous, especially when they see them in their own neighborhood, wondering what's going on. Well, now the Orlando Police Department has this app, and it tells you right here. This is Karen Cannon, and Karen, you live at a senior center.
Correct.
You wanted to get results with the other seniors, so you started a group, kind of your own version of a neighborhood watch group, because of break-ins in the parking lot?
In 2 months, we had 14 cars broken in.
14?
Yeah.
So you called your commissioner?
Yes.
The commissioner called the Orlando Police Department, and
Yes.
they sent out an officer to
Yes.
meet with you guys, and he introduced you to this app.
Yes, he did. So this one's our favorite one, Active Calls, and it shows you all the calls that are active right now in the area.
And this is important to you because you're looking out the window, you're hearing sirens.
You're hearing sirens, exactly.
This, of course, is Orlando Police Chief Eric Smith. Chief, this was your baby from the beginning.
Yes, the app's a great thing. It helps us to better connect with our community. You can see in-progress calls.
What you're saying is they also scroll through the list and realize police officers should be in a different place that they're not?
Yes, that's big for us, and that's a big help to us. Because they'll call in like, hey, these guys are out here doing something. We had shots fired over here. You guys are over, 10 houses over when it came from over here.
They're not in the right place.
You're not in the right place, and it helps us out.
And then the other one is the filing the report, so nonviolent. So if somebody was breaking into our cars, we could have reported that right here on the app.
Chief, when we were arranging this interview, I asked if we could meet somewhere in the community where you think that this would be useful. We're at the Callahan Center here in Paramore. You think in particular this neighborhood can be served by this app?
Definitely. I will say in Paramore, that's where I get a lot of my phone calls. A lot of people reach out to me from Paramore. They're like, hey, I've got this issue going on. Can you help me with this?
If I click on events calendar, it brings up a calendar of where you're going to be and when you're going to be there.
Yes,
You're telling people with the app, look, come talk to me.
exactly. I believe we are doing what we need to do. Homicides are down 40%. Shootings are down across the city on average about 30%. Burglaries are down 27%. So we're seeing some great results, and it's from the hard work of our officers and the great work of our community coming together to let us know what's going on.
And if you want to get a hold of the app, you can do that right now by going to your Google Play Store or your App Store on your iPhone. Just search for Orlando Police Department and download it. And we made it easy for you. Put a link to do that inside this story on clickorlando.com. Just look under the Getting Results, Protecting Our Community page. In Paramore in downtown Orlando, Eric Von Anken, Getting Results, News 6.
And we saw lots of blue sky there behind Eric in that shot. And we are seeing a nice amount of sunshine as we move through our Wednesday. And that will be the case for the next couple of days. Let's go ahead and start you out with a check of the satellite and radar imagery. No rain to track out there for you. We are seeing a lot of sunshine, very little cloud cover as well. And temperatures are quite nice outside, warming finally back into that normal range. Here's how we started today. In Ocala, 46 was your low, 49 was your low in the Villages. Orlando started at 52, which is right in that normal range, and 51 in Cape Canaveral. Look how nicely we're warming up. 75 in Palm Coast right now. The Villages, you are at 78. It is 76 in Kissimmee and 74 in Cape Canaveral. Here's a look at our clouds and rain forecast. We roll you through the afternoon, stopping the clock at 7 o'clock. Still seeing mostly clear skies. Now, some of the models are indicating the potential of a few isolated showers, especially across our southern counties. That will be less than 10%. Most of us are going to be dry as we head really through the weekend. Thursday morning, tomorrow morning, we are talking about that potential of a little bit of patchy fog out there, similar to what we saw this morning. And then as we take you through your Thursday, again, we'll see a nice mix of sun and clouds. We are watching a front that will move through tomorrow. The models are throwing a little bit of moisture into the picture. With that front, I do think that will pass through mostly dry. Now for today, we go to around 80 degrees in some spots. 53 overnight for your low in Ocala. You go to 59 in Kissimmee. Here's a look at that visibility as we head through the morning drive time tomorrow. So we are looking at 4 to 5 mile visibility by around 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, and a lot of spots. So we're not talking about widespread dense fog, but we could see a little bit of reduced visibility on the roadways for most of us. Here's how it looks for the next 7 days. Tomorrow we go up to around 80 degrees, and then that front cools us to 70 for our high on Friday. And then we go right back in the low to mid 70s for the weekend. Next week at this time, we'll be in the low 80s with a chance of some isolated showers on Tuesday. We'll, of course, break down your forecast in greater detail starting on News 6 at 4, so we hope you will join us then. If you have any questions or comments for us here at Take 6, head to clickorlando.com/take6. Let us know what's on your mind. Thank you so much for spending time with us, and I will see you at 4.